I want to get the link. Hello, and we are welcome. It's hello, and we are welcome. It's hello, and we are welcome. I'm excited that we are all here. Hello, can you drop in the comment section and let us know where you're joining us from? Can you hear me? Confirm if I can be heard and if I can be seen. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? Hello, Dad. Can you all hear me? Confirm if I can be heard and if I can be seen. Yes, you're all welcome to our webinar today. Hello. Hello, Precious. You're welcome. Hello, Felix. Hello, Abdul Yakini from Nigeria. Yes, you're welcome. I'm excited that we are all here. It's gonna be a very exciting and fulfilling time, I assure you. And without wasting so much of our time, I will quickly play an intro of your facilitator. Hello, Christy from Lagos. Nice to meet you all. You're all welcome. Yes, I'm going to be playing an introduction of your facilitator. And we will be kicking off from there. Favor Moses stands as a leading voice in intentional parenting and child development, passionately driven by the conviction that every child carries a unique genius waiting to be discovered and nurtured. She is the visionary founder of the Genius Child Academy, a transformative platform dedicated to discovering, developing, and launching the genius in every child without exception. Favor firmly rejects the idea that genius is reserved for a special few. Instead, she insists that there is a genius in every child and that the responsibility of the parents is not accidental or instinctive alone, but intentional, structured, and skill driven. Through the Genius Child Academy Parenting Framework, she introduces parents to clear systems, structures, and skills that equip them to raise world changers, leaders, innovators, and problem solvers who will thrive in a rapidly evolving world. At the heart of the Genius Child Academy is the deeply holistic and well-rounded approach to parenting, one that builds parents from the inside out while empowering them to intentionally nurture their children mentally, emotionally, physically, socially, and psychologically. Favor teaches that parenting is not about control or perfection, but about awareness, connection, and the power of what? In shaping a child's identity, confidence, and destiny. Favor Moses is a prolific author of several best-selling parenting resources that have transformed thousands of homes. Her works include 100 Things Not to Say to Your Child and its accompanying workbook, 100 Things Not to Think of Your Child, 100 Things Not to Do to Your Child, activity books ages 1 to 7, designed to replace screen time with purposeful, brain-stimulating engagement that helps children think, create, and grow into their genius. In addition, she has developed practical toolkits, guides, and materials, such as the Family Bonding Toolkit, which helps families reconnect, build strong emotional bonds, and create meaningful shared experiences in an increasingly distracted world. The Genius Child Academy is home to a vibrant and thriving global community of parents known as the Genius Community, a safe, supportive, and purpose-driven space where parents learn, unlearn, and relearn together. Central to this ecosystem are three flagship programs that help the academy truly comprehensive. One, Reset, Renew, and Rebuild. This foundational program focuses on parents. It helps them reset limiting beliefs, trace patterns from their own upbringing, heal unresolved experiences, and rebuild themselves intentionally. Because favor teaches that you cannot raise a whole child with a broken inner framework. Two, Discovering Your Genius. This program shifts the lens to the child. Parents are guided to deeply understand their child's strengths, learning styles, temperament, personality, interests, and innate abilities, unlocking clarity on who the child truly is beyond comparisons and societal pressures. 3. Launching your genius. Here, parents are equipped with tools, platforms, environments, skills, and knowledge required to intentionally release and position their child's discovered genius into the world with confidence, purpose, and impact. Beyond these programs, the Academy also offers the Inner Circle and the Genius Hub, a one-year immersive experience where parents are partnered with, nurtured, and mentored to consistently and intentionally raise children of influence and excellence. Favor Moses brings a rare blend of academic depth, personal expertise, and lived experience to her work. She holds a background in education management and planning and a master's degree in international education and development from the University of Sussex, United Kingdom. Combined with her exposure, research, and hands-on parenting journey as a mother of three, her teachings are both practical and deeply transformative. Gracefully balancing her personal and professional life, Favor is a devoted wife to her husband, Moses Onemola, and a present intentional mother who practices what she teaches. She seamlessly navigates family life, dedicating her time to teaching, equipping parents, writing, creating tools, problem solving, and building systems to support families globally. Through her books, programs, toolkits, and thriving communities, Favor Moses continues to redefine parenting, championing a new generation of intentional parents who are equipped to raise confident, resilient, a purpose-driven, and intentional children through geniuses prepared to change their world. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our time to welcome our genius coach herself, Favor Moses.
And yes, we are beginning quickly. And it is my pleasure to welcome you all to this beautiful time. I want you to drop in the comment section your expectation. Let me know what you are expecting from the webinar today. I would like to know what you look forward to achieving through today's webinar. And I am quickly going to be sharing my slide so that we begin. If you're yet to let us know where you're joining us from, please do so. Please do let us know where you're joining us from, and also let us know what you're expecting from our webinar this evening. Yes, I'm starting with a very famous quote. Your child doesn't need perfection, they need presence, reflection, and understanding. Every pause is an opportunity to raise a calmer child and a wiser parent. From reaction comes conflict, and from reflection comes connection. So, which do you want to achieve in your home? Do you want to achieve conflict, or do you want to achieve connection? So, reaction comes easily because it is reflex, it just happens. But reflection is something that happens intentionally. You have to make it happen. So the question is, what do you want to achieve in your home? Everyone, you're welcome to this webinar. Let me know. Yes, I can see Paul Joseph watching from Canada. I can see Kenneth Emeka, who says he wants to achieve connection in his home. Yes, I am happy and excited. Our webinar today is From Reactive to Reflective Responses. The parenting reset every home needs. And this webinar is going to bring us to the point of awareness, healing, regulation, and legacy. Awareness, because when you become aware, you are more prepared to be able to solve whatever the challenge is. Healing, regulation, and legacy. Yes. And I have already introduced myself. My name is Favor Felix Moses, and I'm the founder of the Genius Child Academy. And why you should listen to me this evening is because I have helped parents move from constant reactions to calm, confident parenting. And I can tell you it is achievable. Though it is not easy, but it is possible. I teach you why your child behaves the way they do, not just how to stop it. This isn't theory, it's practical tools you can use immediately. I help parents break emotional triggers, not just manage behavior. You will learn, you will leave this webinar feeling clearer, calmer, and more in control as a parent. I'm going to tell a very quick story as we begin. I have a 2-year-old daughter. Her name is Zoe. Very beautiful, amazing daughter, but also very active. So, Zoe would not want her sister or her brother to play with anything that she is playing with. So, she would want to snatch it, she would want to drag, she would want to cry, and she would want to roll on the floor. When we started, it was very tough. It was very frustrating. But as I began to understand Zoe, I understood that there were needs that were underlying that could make her become violent or out of control. And the moment I began to understand that need and connect with her better, the tantrums began to reduce. And I want to say to everyone watching me, behind every behavior is a cause. Yes, the world is about cause and effect. And many times we are focused on what our child is not doing right, our expectations, and what we intend to achieve. What do I call it? What's our plans for them. But those children, the same way that we have plans and expectations, they are human beings also. And They also have plans and expectations of us. But most importantly, their brains are yet developing. So they are counting on us, the adults, to be able to understand themselves, understand the world, understand every other person, and navigate through. When we get upset, when we get fed up and we are reacting, we teach them that reacting is a way to respond when things are overwhelming or not going the right way. So you now discover that you are the mold that is shaping or has shaped your child. You are who your child will become. This webinar is about bringing us to the point where we raise children with intention. Yes, and about the Genius Child Academy. Yes, Genius Child Academy is focused on raising emotionally intelligent, purpose driven children, one family at a time. And we have the 10 pillars of the academy, which are intellectual development and academic excellence, emotional intelligence and mental well being, character and spiritual formation, creativity and artistic expression, physical intelligence and wellness, leadership, entrepreneurship, and social impact, family life and relationships, global awareness and cultural intelligence, nurturing life skills, and the personalized genius tracks. So, we're bringing you this program from the Genius Child Academy, and we hope that you stay till the end of the webinar today because you will be able to learn how to stay calm in triggering moments, how to understand what's happening in your body, how to repair after yelling without shame, how to rebuild trust and emotional safety, and how to help your child feel safe during big emotions. You're going to create a home where connection replaces chaos. Now, staying calm in triggering moments, it's not theory, and it's not something that it's not a magical thing that the moment you wave your hand it just happens. It is something that comes as a result of knowledge, awareness, and consciousness. Then repelling after yelling, most times because we are human beings, things go wrong, but most parents do not want to really take responsibility, so they want to paint a perfect picture to their child. And most times, the children are wondering because the children are overwhelmed, pitched against perfect parents. So they feel that they are not good enough. They feel that they will not be able to make it in this world. It is our responsibility as parents, when things go wrong, to say to our children, you see, I lost it there and I am sorry. They begin to see ownership and responsibility, and they begin to learn how to make things better and learn from mistakes. These are all the things that we're going to learn today. Now, this webinar today is not about blame, it's about understanding, and it is about consciousness. The truth remains that parenting is learned, reactivity is human, awareness creates the change. Healing breaks generational cycles. You cannot change what you do not understand. And I will begin by asking that question. Can you help me put in the comment section? Are you a reactive parent or a reflective one? Thinking about your experience as a parent, where would you place yourself? Do you think that you have been reactive, or do you think that you have been reflective? Yes, I can see Ketura say, I want to be the best mother of my child. I see Afon Lillian say, I look forward to connect more with my daughter and be more present with her. Yes. Christina Jumbo says, parenting is learned. That is true. So, most parents don't need more advice, they need regulation. When parents learn to regulate themselves, the home becomes calmer, children feel safer, and change becomes sustainable. So, this is not a hit and run approach that we're about to look at. No, it is an approach that is going to bring about a sustainable and a lasting change. I can see Kenneth Emeka say, I want to stop reacting. Yes, that's what we want to achieve today. So, has practicing reflective parenting been a challenge for you? Type yes or no in the comments. If yes, you are not alone. That is exactly why we are here. Has practicing reflective parenting been a challenge for you? Now let's begin. Yes, I can see yes from Pillow Time Adventures. Yes, and I can see Brenda Wangi saying yes. Christina says it's been quite challenging. I appreciate the mirror. Your child is not giving you a hard time. Your child is having a hard time. Many times we are very frustrated with our children and we think in our mind, why is this child doing this? Why is this child treating me this way? What is wrong with this child? I want to say something to you. We are moving the lens now from the child to you, the parent. Your child is not giving you a hard time. Your child is having a hard time themselves. I said something in the community. I asked, as a parent, as an adult, are you always happy? You discover that there are times that you wake up in the morning and you feel a certain way. You wake up in the morning and you are not up to it. Or there are times that certain things happen, maybe certain things did not go according to your expectations and all of that, and you begin to feel sad and that. Now, when children cry, when children throw tantrums, they are equally upset, they are disappointed, and they have these big feelings in their little bodies. They are unable to process and express adequately. So, the same way you can put words together to say, I feel this, I feel that, to a spouse, to a colleague, to a parent, the way your child expresses themselves is to throw that toy in their hands, is to fall on the ground and spill some water, it is to hit their sibling. Now it gets worse if you are a reactive parent, because you would get angry and hit that child for hitting the sibling. Now how do you stop a child from hitting when you are hitting yourself? So the child absorbs that violence is normal. Someone who is bigger can hit the next person. So you see that the mirror shows us that it is about the parents. That is why it is called parenting, not childing. Parenting is progressive. It is not perfect. It's about repairing after a mistake. So, this is about a reset, not a judgment. Pausing and reflecting. Pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what tone am I modeling? What reactions feel normal in my home? What does my child experience in moments of correction? Can I still be seen and heard? If you can see me and hear me, please let me know. So ask yourself, hello, can I be seen? Can I be heard? I've stopped sharing. Hello? If you can see me and if you can hear me, please let me know so that I can continue. Okay, so we will continue. Sorry about that. So the question is, ask yourself, what tone am I modeling daily? What reactions feel normal in my home? What does my child experience in moments of correction? What tone am I modeling daily? What reactions feel normal in my home? And what does my child experience in moments of correction? I want us to really think about this because it's a very important and critical aspect of this webinar this evening. What tone? The tone in the home. Is it calm? Is it supportive? Is it critical? Is it abusive or condemning? What reactions feel normal? Is it normal to dismiss my child? Is it normal to keep to myself? Reactive responses. We're about to define what reactive responses are. They are automatic, emotionally charged, unconscious, and survival driven. They happen to us, not through us. Reactive responses are automatic, emotionally charged, unconscious, survival driven. They happen to us, not through us. So, when we react to our children, what they see is what is happening to them, not what is happening through them. So, when they misbehave and we react, they get the effects of our reaction. What reactivity looks like: yelling before understanding, threatening instead of teaching, shaming language, punishment without connection, overreacting to age appropriate behavior. Many times we get upset that our little children are crying unnecessarily. Children should cry. It is part of their emotional development. Other times, we get upset that our teenage children are arguing with us or are having a mind of their own. But that is the beginning of their independence. These are age appropriate behaviors that if a child is not exhibiting it at that point, the child needs to be checked out. But because we do not understand childhood, we do not understand what is appropriate for each age limit, we get frustrated, we begin to yell, we begin to shame, and we begin to punish instead of correcting. Now, the brain science of reactivity. When triggered, the amygdala takes over. The amygdala is the part of the brain. It is the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that is responsible. It is the part of the brain that is, responsible for stress and all that. Now, when this happens, logic shuts down and survival begins to run the show. What this simply means is that your child is coming with a cup of water, and that cup of water falls from your child's hands. The amygdala taking over would mean, what was that just happened? Why don't you pay attention? Why do you always become absent minded? Why are you never careful? At that point, you are not thinking that that child could have slipped over something. That child is human, can make mistakes. So the question is, when the amygdala takes over, the thinking part of the brain is not able to function at that time. And that is why we find ourselves calling our children names, we find ourselves shouting, we find ourselves doing things that are not regulated. So I would ask you, do you think 90% of the time that you are regulated? Or do you think that you react? So being regulated is being a reflective parent. Who is a reflective parent then? That is the parent that would pause, that would take a deep breath, that would think about what has happened before saying anything. And when survival, or you are a reactive parent, that means that you're not parenting from wisdom. So, do you ever wonder why it feels so out of control? That's a question I'm asking. Do you wonder why it feels out of control? Do you ever wonder why you are not able to manage what is going on? You're not able to control what is going on. Do you often say, I don't know why I reacted like that? That is not who I want to be as a parent. Now, here is the truth. It wasn't a conscious choice. It was a nervous system reflex. Many times we go to bed in the night saying in our hearts, oh, it was a hectic day. Tomorrow, I'm going to try my best to be this to my children, to be that to my children. And even we wake up in the morning with decisions and resolutions. We say, oh, I'm going to try, I'm going to see what I can do to be there for these children today, to spend time with them, to do this, to do that. And then, before you know what is happening, something happens and you are off. You're yelling, you're beating, and you are all over the place. What has happened? It is reactive, it is not conscious. The hidden costs. Now, this isn't about one bad moment, because when we get to find out the reason and the implication of what we are doing, we are more ready, we are more resolved to make sure that things don't happen that way. If I know that if I take a cup of acid, or if I allow my child take jig or hypo, my child is going to die. If I see my child going towards that place, I'm going to take that thing that would harm my child. So what if I tell you that yelling and reaction is harming your child, and it's not allowing your child to become the person that they are supposed to be? I mean, the best versions of themselves. So we're about to look at the hidden costs. The hidden costs. This isn't about one bad moment. It's about repeated patterns. And remember, patterns shape emotional safety, identity, relationships, and brain development. So, what children remember? Children don't remember lectures. They remember your tone, your facial expression, the emotional intensity, and stress is stored up as felt experience. So it's about their experience. What stress becomes. Chronic reactivity keeps a child's body in danger mode. Over time, it impacts regulation, which is their ability to be calm, to process things, learning. Many times we have wondered why our children are not doing well in school, but we didn't know that constant shouting, constant blames, constant criticism triggered a lot of stress hormones that would not allow them learn, that affected their ability to learn, because learning can only take place in a calm, regulated way. And that is why when, let me say, an assignment is going on, you're trying to help your child with homework and you become impatient, do you realize that they make more mistakes? Because that tense atmosphere does not allow the part of the brain that should learn to function. Over time, it impacts on self worth. We begin to see children who cannot be bold to express themselves, children who are withdrawn, children who are afraid to fail or make mistakes. Do we know that mistakes are a part of life? Children need to understand that failing and making mistakes is a part of life and a process of learning. This also impacts on their relationship. An unsafe brain cannot learn optimally. So, the dangers of reactive parenting includes reactive reactive parenting doesn't just affect behavior, it shapes a child's inner world, which includes their emotional safety breaks. Feelings are suppressed and then they explode later. And that is why we see children that we thought were controlled. You see a child who used to be everywhere, all of a sudden the child starts learning to be quiet and all that. Then, boom, the child gets into the university or gets married, but gets into a space that allows the child to express themselves. And you discover that this child is out of control. When this child gets angry as a young adult now, or as a parent, this child does the wrong things. Why? Through life, the child was suppressed. The child didn't learn to regulate. The child didn't learn acceptable ways to let out their emotions. So they, out of fear, learned to suppress whatever they were feeling. But the moment they got into a space where they were no longer afraid, the moment they got into a space where they believed that you can't tell me what to do, they began to hurt other people because they were just suppressed. They didn't learn to regulate. Two, negative self talk forms. This includes low self worth, fear based motivation. Three, unhealthy relationship patterns develop. Love feels unsafe. Correction feels like humiliation. Four, brain development is stressed. Children cannot thrive or learn optimally. When I got married newly, I discovered something. I discovered that every time my husband tried to correct me, I would start feeling that he didn't appreciate the efforts I was making around the house or who I was. And it took me time to understand that when people correct you, it is so that you can become better and the relationship will become better. But I grew up because I didn't grow up noticing accountability, like where superior people would say, oh, I made a mistake and I am sorry about this, and take responsibility and all of that. Then as a mom, when I became a mom, when my son tells me, mom, that is wrong, I felt, why would you say that, you know and then I began to learn that I am not perfect and my child can express something that is not right. So if we raise children who can't say no, or who can't say that was wrong, that was right, who cannot be bold and confident, how then can they rule their world? How can they be leaders? How can they be innovators? So I had to rewrite that script and that wiring. Long term adaptations. Reactive parenting can shape children over time. Now, this leads to survival adaptations like hypervigilance. They are always on alert. You notice children that when you know, they are sleeping, you open the door, they wake up. Hypervigilance, because the brain has already signaled that there is constant trouble. And that is what happens in a home that there is constant shouting and abusive and a high level of expectations. Children become hyper vigilant. They are always, their brain is always, scouting for harm, is always feeling unsafe, always feeling that something can go wrong, something can go wrong. This is what happens with impulsive beating. When your child does something and unexpectedly you just beat that child, so the child begins to learn that anything can come at any time. you know Nothing is predictable. That leads to hypervigilance. That leads that child to always thinking that there is danger. And once the brain is in that mode, it cannot innovate, it cannot create. The brain needs to be in a safe mode to be able to think through, to be able to create. And that is why, for those of us parents who want a perfect home, you don't want papers littered everywhere, you don't want things on the wall, and all of that. I want to say something to you. 10 years to come, 20 years to come, depending on the ages of your children, they will be all grown and they would have left the home. And when you arrange things in your home, it would remain that way. And at that point, you will begin to miss what you never cherished and what you never took advantage of. But most importantly, what did not allow them to become who they were meant to be. The message is in the mess. This is about allowing children to explore. This is about allowing children to be themselves. Many times it is not convenient, but it is the right thing to do. It is in that process that you can begin to guide them and that they can begin to discover themselves. Now, perfectionism is the second long-term, effect. Fear of mistakes, people pleasing, they are constantly seeking approval, emotional shutdown, protecting from overwhelm, shame based identity, feeling not enough. You can tell your child that what they did is wrong, but do not tell them that they are wrong. Now, when you say to a child, "Why are you stupid?" you have just named the child with an identity. Why do you always do this? That child begins to feel, "I'm always doing this. I will never be able to do it." When you say to your child, "You are never able to do anything right," the child begins to feel that way. But when we focus on the behavior and not the child, we are able to correct, we are able to guide. Why we react? Root causes. We react because of unhealed childhood wounds. Now, when we were growing up, the way we were raised has a big effect on how we learned to raise our children. Unhealed childhood wounds, burnout, and overwhelm. The truth remains that the constant stress in the world, the constant stress in the world would not allow us as parents to become calm and relaxed if we are not intentional. Unrealistic expectations, fear based beliefs, lack of regulation and tools. Now, we parent from what lives in our nervous system. Now, the shifts. Reactivity is automatic, reflection is intentional. What is reflective parenting then? A reflective parent is a parent who chooses to pause, a parent who makes a choice. It is a regulated response and it is connection before correction. Understanding your child, letting them know that you understand. When children feel understood, when children know that you understand why they did a thing, they are able to even look into it and learn through it. What reflective response sounds like: "I see you are upset. This behavior is not okay, but you are. This behavior is not okay, but you are okay. Now, let's slow down and try again." Calm teaches calm. Why it works? Reflective responses activates the thinking brain. It teaches regulation through safety, and it builds trust and cooperation. Calm creates clarity. The healing the root causes, pathway to change. This is about awareness. Awareness weakens patterns. So when you are able to become aware, you are able to trace the patterns. You're able to know what happens within you before you start shouting. When you become aware, you are able to track it, that, "Oh, when this happened, I felt this certain way. And before I knew what was happening, I began to shout." For some of us, it can be the tingling of the hand. It can be, you start shaking your feet. There's something that you notice that you begin to do before you start, responding to what your child has done. So when you become aware, that pattern is weakened. Capacity restores patience. When you begin to understand your child, that their brains are yet developing, they have big feelings in small bodies, you're building capacity. So when this child does this, you say, "Yes, this is a child. behaving this particular way. I am an adult and I will guide this child through this process to show them the acceptable way to behave. I will not behave like them, expecting them to behave differently, because that is what happens when we start shouting and beating. We are doing the exact thing we don't want our child to do. Knowledge builds compassion, and skills create freedom. Now, advantages of reflective responses. One, emotional intelligence. Children learn naming emotions and managing feelings. Two, stronger connection. Correction within relationship. Children feel seen, not shamed. Three, internal discipline. Understanding replaces fear. Motivation comes from meaning. Four, secure, confident futures. Strong identity, healthy boundaries, wise decision making. Now, rewiring the brain for effective responses. The tool one, the first tool that we can use, the sacred pause. This is breathing 3 to 5 seconds. So the moment your child is doing something and you are able, you want to, attack that child, you want to start saying something, you want to start responding, can you take a deep breath and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 within you? You're breathing 3 to 5 seconds. Two, name the feeling. You ask yourself, what do I feel now? And you can say, I feel upset. I feel disappointed. I feel overwhelmed. I'm feeling frustrated. The moment you take that deep breath and you name that feeling, you ask yourself, what does this moment require? What does this moment require? Now, at that point, you're asking yourself, what is the best thing I can do at this time? Should I lose my patience and start attending to this child who is frustrated in a frustrated way? Or should I show this child a different way to manage this frustration by my managing myself? Two, trigger mapping identity. The trigger, the story you tell yourself, the memory it connects to breaks the memory it connects to awareness breaks cycle. So we need to understand what exactly our child does that triggers us. You know, for some parents, a particular thing, you will notice that a particular thing makes you become very upset. A particular pattern, it's worth tracking. So you discover that the moment I'm talking to my child and he or she acts like they are not listening, I become upset. Or the moment I'm talking to my child and he or she gets up and walks away, then I become very upset and I can't do anything at that point. The moment you understand that trigger, most times that trigger is something that has happened and stored in the nervous system. It can be that growing up, when you try to walk out on your parents, they snapped you back, beat the hell out of you, and corrected you. Your brain internalized that every time somebody tries to walk out, do something to stop that humiliation. It is a humiliation. And you don't know that it is already stored there. It's a trigger. So the moment it happens, you react before you realize that I have done things I'm not supposed to do. So it is about tracking every time there's a reaction to ask, what exactly made me react? What angered me the most? What made me go out of control? The moment you are able to do that, you are able to know that, okay, I have to break this cycle. This will not have an effect on me anymore. The truth is that many times we are not reacting or responding to what our child has just done. Your child does something, you discover that your brain begins to give different interpretation to that thing that child has done. Oh, this child is beginning to tell lies. This child will start stealing now. This child will become caught. This child will be killed for stealing. You start thinking about it immediately. Everything that can go wrong. And the moment you start responding, look at you. Did I train you like that? Da, 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 da. You will not realize that you're not just addressing the specific behavior. You are addressing every picture that your brain had painted through that behavior. So being able to track these things helps you to respond in a reflective manner, addressing the child. So you discipline without breaking, because most times the discipline we do ends up breaking the child. It ends up, making the child become overwhelmed. Because just the same way you're not perfect as an adult, we all go to work, we all manage our businesses, and we see how dicey life can be. Things don't go as planned, things don't go as expected. So, how do we expect our children to have a perfect life? The moment I say this, and I want to say this about repetition, somebody very close to me gets upset to say, "Oh, I have said this over and over." Science and research shows that you have to repeat something 12 times in one day for 5 years for the brain to internalize it. So, as a parent, you are a constant repeater. If you don't have the habit of repeating, your child will not be able to internalize the instruction. So, how do you repeat? You can save yourself repeating from talking. You can choose that I'm going to have a chart, I'm going to have a to do list, I'm going to have something pasted somewhere. Like for my son to come back from school, I paste. Once you come back from school, take out your shoe, school uniform, do this, do this. Wake up routine. I have something pasted on the wall. Wake up in the morning, dress my bed, say my prayer, brush my teeth. So that way you are putting a system in place to guide the child, that is not you speaking or you being there. And the child begins to conform to that system. Now, 2, 3, reframe the child from my child is disrespectful, my child never learns, my child is stubborn. You can say my child is learning regulation. So you move. Now, we don't groom children from weakness to strength. If you focus on the child's weakness by constantly thinking about it, by constantly speaking to the child about it, you are reinforcing it in the brain, because that is the information you're giving to the brain. So, what do? You build on your child's strength, you build on what you want to move that child to, and you start speaking it. You start bringing it to the consciousness of the child. So, the moment the child does the wrong thing, you say, no, that is not the right way to do. This is the right way to do, and you are going to achieve that. So the child begin. That is about guidance. The time you spend saying, I've been warning you, I've been telling you, don't do this. Why don't you listen? You just say, yeah, you need to do this at this time. Doing this is not the right thing. This is the right thing to do. Yeah, we are going to do it. Let's do it together. So the child is pointed to that direction that you want the child to be. Scripts before the storm. This is about preparing calm responses for tantrums, defiance, sibling conflicts. So you fall to the level of your preparation. So now this is about ahead of time, putting things in place, telling yourself, if I notice that my 2-year-old daughter is hitting my baby, this is what I'm going to say. Our hands are calm hands, they don't hurt. You will say to yourself, if I notice that my 5-year-old son does not want to share with his siblings, I would say you are preparing scripts before it happens. So the moment it happens, you are not thinking of what to do, because there's already something stored up that you are planning to do, that you would do. Daily nervous system care. This is about rest, prayer and meditation, silence, support, and emotional check-ins. To number 6 is repair after rupture. This is about apologizing, reconnecting, and modeling humility. Repair teaches accountability, not weaknesses. Now, you are going to tell me in the comment section which of these tools makes the most sense to you, and which of these tools would you like to practice after this webinar. Is it to reframe the child, or the sacred pause, or the trigger mapping, or the script before the storm, or the daily nervous system care, or the repair after rupture? I want to know which of these tools that you want to try. The truth: your child is not broken. Your brain adapted to survive. Both can learn safety again. Compassionate reframe. If you have ever thought, I hate how I reacted and I feel guilty, I want to let you know you're not a bad parent. You're a parent learning regulation. And To name this gap, awareness is powerful, but awareness alone doesn't require patterns. What creates lasting change is number one, practice, number two, structure, number three, support, and number four, repetition in safety. So, what creates lasting change is practice, structure, support, and repetition in safety. That is what creates change. So, imagine a home where you pause instead of explode, you repair, and it feels natural, not shameful. Imagine a home where your child feels safe in big emotions. Imagine where you parent from clarity, not fear. This is possible with the right system. And this is why we are introducing reset, renew, and rebuild. This is because most of these things that we have explained cannot happen once. The reason is for some of us, you're 30 years, you're 40 years, you're 50 years, you are 20 years, you are 40 something years. Now imagine that what you have done all your life, you want to wake up one morning and no longer do it. It's not possible because there is already a programming or a script that your nervous system and your brain has adjusted to. And that is why we have launched the Reset, the Renew, and the Rebuild program. It is a 3 month progressive journey that helps parents reset unhealthy patterns, renew their mindsets, and rebuild strong foundations for intentional parenting. So, you reset, you renew, and you rebuild. This signature parenting transformation program is designed to help you regulate before you react, heal root patterns, rebuild emotional safety, and create a lasting family legacy. So, this is not a motivation, it is retraining your nervous system. So, this is about being able to find yourself because you have lived all your life a particular person in a particular state. This is about taking you on that journey to retrace the steps. We're gonna go through a journey of tracking from your childhood through your teenage years, through your early years to find out what has made me who I am now. What do I need to become who I want to be? Who is that person I want to be? And how do I become that person? So, Reset, Renew, and Rebuild is a 3 month progressive journey designed to help parents pause, reflect, and intentionally rebuild themselves from the inside out. This program guides parents to reset limiting beliefs and unhealthy patterns inherited from upbringing and past experiences. It also helps them to renew their mindset, values, and emotional response, and rebuild strong internal systems that support conscious, effective parenting. So, through structured learning, guided reflection, and practical tools, parents are equipped to heal, grow, and develop clarity so they can show up as emotionally grounded, self aware, and purpose driven guides for their children. The Reset, Renew, and Rebuild lays the foundation for raising whole, resilient children by first transforming the parents. And it is 3 months. The first month is on learning limiting beliefs, identifying unhealthy patterns, and confirming past experiences that shape your parenting. The second month is renew, renewing mindset, emotions, and values while building self awareness and emotional resilience. And the third month is rebuild, rebuilding intentional systems, habits, and skills to parent with clarity, confidence, and purpose. Now, this program is the cost is 40,000, but there is a one-time payment of 25,000. And when this payment is done, you receive a bonus of 100 things not to say to your child with each workbook, and 100 things not to think of your child with each workbook. Now, there's also a commitment payment where you pay a minimum of 10,000 and then you balance the rest before the 10th of January, which is when the early bird expires. After the 10th of January, the program returns to 40,000 naira, which is the original cost of the program. Now, when you join Research, Renew, and Rebuild, you gain access to the Parenting Hub, which is the step-by-step guidance. It's a 1-year guidance. You gain access to our signature books, 100 Things Not to Say to Your Child and 100 Things Not to Think of Your Child. You gain access to practical tools, scripts, and exercises, ongoing support and clarity, a proven framework for calm, connected parenting. And this is structure, not guesswork. So here, you have two paths, either to continue reacting, repairing occasionally, hoping time fixes things, or to choose intention, healing, and legacy with the right support. Both are your choices, but only one would create a lasting change. I want you to choose regulation over reaction and choose connection over control, because legacy is better than running on autopilot. The link is in the comment section for anyone who wants to purchase the Reset and Renew program. If you pay once, you get the 100 things not to say to your child, say this instead, and the 100 things not to think of your child, think this instead. You get that bonus. You can also pay 2 times. You pay a minimum of 10,000 to lock in your spot, and you pay the balance before the 10th of January. And here we come to the end of our webinar. It is time for questions. I'm going to be taking questions at this time. If you have your questions, please put it down in the comment section. Also, let me know what stood out for you in this webinar. Let me know what stood out for you in this webinar. We scheduled that this would be just for 1 hour, not taking so much of our time. And this is 7 p.m. already. This is 8 p.m. already Nigerian time. So yes, we are within time. So if this class has made a lot of sense to you, we'll continue the conversation in the community. The link to the Reset and Renew program is also going to be dropped in the community. Yeah, it's also going to be dropped in the community so that we can continue this journey, this conscious journey, to be able to understand where we are coming from, name where we want to go to, and equip ourselves with everything we need to get to where we are going to. And here we come to the end of our webinar. We continue our conversations in the community. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for joining me. Yeah. All right. And bye.